person is standing under a closed down shop. It is night time and the street was actually very dim lit, means it was not too very bright also, it was not too dark also. These 20 years there was a gap, right? They have not at all met once also. Only thing they had is they had agreed to meet over there. That was the last meeting and that was the last conversation they had. Jimmy Wells actually confirms that he is only Bob, he is the person they are looking for by inquiring about the whereabouts of Bob. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Shalini, Professor of English, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Today we are here to understand one of the lessons from your prose parts prescribed by University of Mysuru for 2nd Sem B.B.A. Let us see what is there in today's module. We are going to understand about the lesson after 20 years. It is a very interesting session today. So we'll be understanding about the author. Then if at all there are any new words, we are going to learn about that also. Then we'll go to the summary along with the theme of the story. Okay, so let us begin by understanding about the author. So this author, that is O. Henry, is actually a very interesting person. Okay, so he has written a lot of short stories, a lot of novels also, which are very interesting even to the readers, the adult readers, as well as the younger children. Fine. So he is William Sidney Porter. He is known by his pen name O. Henry. He was an American short story writer. He was very well regarded by the Americans. The Gift of Muggy is one of his most famous works. So Gift of Muggy, I think you might have read that story, like there is one poor couple wherein they sell their favorite things in order to gift to each other. That is the gift of love. Fine. So that is the theme of this story, The Gift of Muggy. It's a very interesting one. If at all you get a chance, please do read this story. He has written many poems, short stories, and also non-fictions. Fine, non-fictions is nothing but it's actually maybe a sci-fi story or maybe any true story in the form of a novel. So this is a short introduction about O. Henry. There is actually a very vast introduction about him which we ought to know. So when time permits, we shall learn about him. So to move on about the theme of this story, this O. Henry's short story after 20 years, this actually focuses on the reunion of two friends, Jimmy and Bob. That means they have decided to meet in one particular place after 20 years. So what happens after 20 years is the main theme of this story. Though their brief encounter, the two explore the themes of friendship, loyalty, and trust. So how well their friendship is built in these years, and also how loyal they are and how can they trust each other. So these are the elements that gets unveiled in their meeting. Okay, so let us move on to the summary of this story. So to begin with, that is the setting of the story is on the street. Fine, a cop is moving on the street. It is night time. So that cop is making sure all the shops are closed. So he makes sure and he just walks along the street over there. And there he was very watchful. He is a cop, by the way, so he has to be watchful, right? He keeps an eye on each and every development that is happening in the street and he goes on walking. So that time the cop saw a man standing at the door of a shop and slowed down. So there is one person who is standing near a shop which is closed and it looked like that man was waiting for somebody. So this cop slows down there and he tries to talk to him. Okay, so he inquires who he is waiting for. So the cop goes to that person and asks him, "Whom are you waiting for? Will you be here for some more time?" is what he asks. The man briefs the cop. So the stranger who was standing there, he tells the cop about an agreement between him and his friend. So this person, he tells to that cop, that is the policeman who had come there, that there was his friend. So he is waiting to meet him. So cop was surprised. Why is he waiting for his friend? And like he wanted to know more about it. That cop wanted to know more about it. The man also tells about him how he was successful. So what this man, the stranger, tells is he talks about his life story. So he tells about the agreement, that is when they were small, they had decided to meet over here. That is when they were partying, they had decided to meet over here in this place. and he was also telling him how successful he was. Like his friend was not at all successful, so he had to drop out of the school, but he was very successful. He went to the West and he became a very good businessman. He started trading and all, so he became very successful, and all this story he narrates in the meantime, that is when the cop is talking to that person. So this cop and the stranger have a conversation for 10 or 15 minutes, and cop gets to know everything about this stranger. Fine. I'm not telling the names of these people because you'll get to know in the end who is who. Fine. So I'll take their names in the next slide or maybe towards the end of this story. So the cop, after listening to the stranger's story, tells him to leave early and leaves. So this cop talks to him. Then he tells, see, it's already dark. Be careful. Do not wait for a long time. So all this he advises, and he tells him, you will be leaving after 5 minutes. So he asks him, if at all he doesn't come, maybe they had agreed to meet at 10 o'clock. So the cop asks him, at 10:05 if he comes, what will you do? So that person says, I'll wait for another 15 minutes. I'm going to wait for some more time and then only I'm going to leave. Maybe 15 or 30 minutes I'm going to wait and then only leave, because it is an agreement and I'm sure that my friend is going to come and meet me, he says. So that stranger is actually very confident that his friend is going to come. So he is waiting there, and this cop actually starts from there and he leaves that place. After 20 minutes, another person comes and recognizes that man as Bob. So another person comes there. It is actually dark. Just imagine the setting of this story. That person is standing under a closed down shop. It is night time, and the street was actually very dim lit. Means it was not too very bright also. It was not too dark also. So there comes another man. So enough light was not there in order to recognize another person's face clearly. So during that time, when the stranger was waiting, there is another person who comes there and he talks to that stranger. Aren't you Bob? He asks him. So Bob is very happy. So that stranger who was waiting there was Bob. Fine. So Bob is very happy, and Bob recognizes that person who came now as Jimmy Wells. So the person who came there was Jimmy Wells. So the two friends' name is, one is Bob and the other one is Jimmy Wells. Okay, so they both walk along the street talking to each other. Now, both of them, it is actually dim light, as I said. So they were walking slowly towards the end of the road. They were actually talking about that shop which was closed. Like they planned to have a party over there. Like after 20 years when they meet, they plan to have a party over there. And now they are seeing that the shop is closed. Okay. But still this stranger was waiting over there. Stranger in the sense Bob was waiting there, and when Jim comes over there, they feel bad that the shop is already closed down, and they start moving towards the end of the road so that they can sit for some time and they can talk. Okay, so they reach towards the end of the road there, and they start talking about how successful they are. Like Jimmy Wells tells about his life and Bob starts talking about his life. So they have a very friendly conversation, getting to know about all their lives, and they start moving towards the end of the road. And mind it, these 20 years there was a gap, right? They have not at all met once also. Only thing they had is they had agreed to meet over there. That was the last meeting and that was the last conversation they had. Okay, so now they have agreed to come and meet there, and now they are having a conversation. Now they are getting to know each other. Fine. So in that conversation only, they reached the end of the road. So end of the road, there was a bright light. That is a street light. It was very bright. So once when they reached the place where there was a street light, Bob looked at Jimmy and said he was not his friend. Like they know when they were parting, actually they were not too very small when they parted, so they had already had the teenage look and all. Then when Bob looks at Jimmy Wells, he says, your nose has become so long and you've grown so tall, you cannot be my friend, he says. So like Jimmy Wells was surprised, why is he telling that, and also he was surprised, and he tries convincing him that he is Jimmy Wells. But Bob says, no, I'm confident you are not Jimmy Wells, you are somebody else. Then he tells that, but you cannot grow so tall, you were too short that time, and how can you grow so tall? You haven't taken so much of food that you have grown so tall. So all these dialogues he goes on telling, that is Bob goes on telling this. The other man says Bob that he was under arrest from past 10 minutes. Surprisingly, the person who had come, that is, who claimed to be Jimmy Wells, tells Bob that you are under arrest from 10 minutes. But what is the reason? Bob was actually a criminal. So the cops were actually looking for him. He was supposed to be arrested anytime, and Bob did not know that. Fine, he did not know that he is going to be arrested. So the cop who came earlier, he had a clue that this is the criminal, and that is the reason he has sent another cop to arrest this Bob. So what happens here? Now Bob is under arrest. He tries convincing the other person that he has not done any mistake and all, but nothing doing. This cop tells him whatever the cop who had sent him had already told him. So what does he say? He hands over a message from Bob's friend, Mr. Wells. So he has got a message. So the person who is claiming to be Jimmy Wells is not Jimmy Wells. He has got a message from Mr. Wells, that is Jimmy Wells. So Jimmy Wells, knowing that Bob will be waiting here and he didn't want to meet him in such an embarrassing situation, he gives a message. He sends a message through the other cop who had come to arrest Mr. Bob. Now what is the message that he reads out? Bob reads it and his hands start shaking as he reads it. Now he just opens the message and starts reading it. He felt so shocked. He was like he had mixed feelings. He could not express anything. Like the theme of that is the summary of that message that was written over there was like he was the person who came earlier, that is the cop who came earlier was Jimmy Wells. So he saw Bob, he confirmed that he is going to stay there for another 20 minutes. He is going to wait till Jimmy Wells is going to come and then only he leaves the place. He tells him, you wait here only, like you can leave after 5 minutes. So all these advices Jimmy Wells gives earlier only and then leaves. So Jimmy Wells makes sure that Bob waits there till he is arrested. Okay, so now Bob has nothing to say. He was so shocked. Jimmy Wells did not come and arrest him. He sent somebody else because he did not want to arrest his friend. Even that was written in the note. Okay, so Jimmy Wells felt so bad that he had to arrest his friend. So he didn't want to put him in that embarrassing situation. So he sends another cop in order to arrest Bob, that is who had already grown as a criminal. Jimmy Wells actually confirms that he is only Bob, he is the person they are looking for by inquiring about the whereabouts of Bob. That is initially when they meet, that is during the in the dim lit area initially before this second cop could come. So that time Jimmy Wells actually talks to Bob and he knows everything about him. So like Bob goes on telling about him, right? He goes on telling how successful he was as a businessman, how he traded this diamond and all. So everything he goes on telling. So now Jimmy Wells is confirmed that he is the person they are looking for, and he felt very bad that his friend has landed up in such a situation. So he didn't want to make the situation even more worse. So he sent another cop to arrest Bob. So this shows the respect that Jimmy Wells has for their friendship and also the loyalty that Jimmy Wells expresses towards the friendship. How is it a respect towards the friendship? That is because he didn't want to put his friend in an embarrassing situation. So that is the respect to the friendship which Jimmy Wells has given. Then how is it loyalty that is expressed here? Jimmy Wells doesn't fail. He comes back at the time when they had decided, exactly at that time when they had decided to meet each other, and also the place. So he is loyal to his friendship also, and that affection he has towards his friend, isn't it? So he didn't want to put him in an embarrassing situation. He didn't want his friend to feel bad that he got arrested from his own friend. So keeping all these in mind, Jimmy Wells, he sent somebody else to arrest Bob. So his job is also done. He is loyal to his duty also. He is loyal to the friendship also. Okay, so this is the theme of this story after 20 years. So this is a wonderful story. It runs up to 3 to 4 pages, so you can read it within no time. Okay, so there are no new words used over here by O. Henry, are very easy. Okay, once you read it, you will be able to understand it easily. Fine. So this was the summary of this after 20 years. So I would suggest you to please read the story and understand it. So once you get the hold on this story, you can answer any of the question that is given here. And yes, annotation may also be given because there are dialogues in this story. Okay, so yes, this was the summary. So this is the time to wind up the session. So let us meet again in another more interesting session. Okay, so till then, take care, keep learning. Thank you for your time. See you soon. Bye bye.